always begin our BOCC meetings with a word of prayer and thanks, and we would like to do that, and hopefully everyone can join us. And
Need to remember Barbara Butler and Mike. They ran a car wreck.
what?
Miss Butler, I just saw Miss Butler in the parking lot.
Okay.
Oh.
How's Mike?
They're both good,
Yeah.
and but they're both going to go home and relax a little bit.
Okay.
Before they go back to the doctor.
Yeah.
That's
Really?
where they
They
were.
coming back from the doctor?
No,
Really?
head
They're
to
going
the
to
doctor.
Going to? Ooh, hold on.
Check up for him.
We have a lot of reasons to be. We have a lot of reasons to be thankful. Thank God that Miss Butler and Mike's okay, and we definitely want to say thanks for that, and say thanks that we're not in the situation we were 2 weeks ago, and we're getting better every day, and we're all here. So I know I look forward to speaking more about it. So to begin the meeting, I would ask Commissioner Wills to lead us in invocation.
Father, I thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to be here today. I thank you for each one represented. Father, I just ask you to keep your hands over Miss Butler and Mike both. Father, we thank you for the report that they're healed. No broke bones, no lacerations. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for total and complete healing. Father, I thank you for total and complete healing for this county, Father. Not this county, but just the entire state, Lord, from what we went through, Father, with the storm, what each individual is still facing. I ask you to be the ones that lost their homes, Father. Give them peace to know that you're in control, Lord, of all things. Be with the people in Puerto Rico as well, Father God, as the losses there is tremendous, Father. I just ask, Father, you lead us and guide us, give us the wisdom we need to make the right decisions, Father, for the county and each person in it, Father, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, roll call.
This is a regular meeting of the Hendry County Board of County Commissioners being held on Tuesday, September 26, 2017 at 5:30 p.m. in the County Commission Chambers in LaBelle, Florida. In attendance are Chairman Michael Swindle, Vice Chairman Darrell Harris, Commissioner Emma Bird, Commissioner Mitchell Wills, Commissioner Carson Turner, County Administrator Charles Chapman, County Attorney Mark Lapp, Deputy Clerk Anita Bichelle.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. First item on the agenda is under bids, and it is bid number 2017-21. Mr. Parker,
I move to accept.
Second,
motion to move to accept in a second. Are there any questions or comments?
this would in no way, shape, or form be affected by the storm, right?
No, sir.
Okay.
This should not be
Just
affected.
making sure.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing no further questions, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Thank you very much. On consent agenda, does anyone have any items to be pulled?
I just want to make sure that the items under public hearing they're completely separate, standalone items. There's nothing on consent that's under there, and I'm good with that. I just
Wait,
wanted to
say that
confirm
again
that.
now?
So like 2016-54, that's item number 22, but we're going to hear all of those in separate.
Okay, yes.
I just want to confirm that. I was
Move
just
to
looking through it.
accept consent.
Second.
Motion moved to consent agenda, and it's by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Turner. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. I see nothing under awards, appearances, and presentations, so we'll move into the public hearing. If y'all please give me just a second. We will go through a scripted piece for the legalities of the budget. We will now open the public hearing for the Henry County Board of County Commissioners tentative budget for the fiscal year 2017-2018 pursuant to Florida Statute Section 200.065. The first item of business is the adoption of the tentative millage rate. The rolled back rate is 8.2645 mils. The proposed millage rate is 8.4909, which is 2.74% more than the rollback rate. The reason for the increase are retirement and insurance rate increases, pay raises, and other line item increases for operations. This is a public hearing. Is there any public comment? I do have one public comment card for a speaker. Mr. Levon Sherrill. Mr. Sherrill, you wish to come forward?
My name's Levon Sherrill. I've been in Henry County 67 years now, all my life. One of my questions is these letters I got from the county about my taxes. I've got one piece of property that the taxes is going up right at $1,000 on one piece of property. And several other pieces of properties going up 400 or 500 each and so on. And I'm wondering how we're supposed to absorb that. I don't know what, we got a couple of pieces of property in the city of Clueston, and we got blindsided 2 years ago with a flood insurance that cost over $4,000 on a couple of metal and concrete buildings. And now I'm getting blindsided with an extra $2,500 a year on taxes, and how can one building go up that much at one time? What happened to the little bit along until you try to adjust yourself to it?
Is it in the
And I'm
city?
concerned about all this.
You had some in both. You say you had some in the city, you had some in the county. Is that as well? Is that both? Is that correct?
Pardon me?
Are the ones you're in question, are they all just within Hendry County? Or
Yes,
some
the
are
ones in
within?
question's all in Henry County.
But
They're
none within the city
Hooker Point
limits.
area
Right, so the city limits.
where I was raised.
Right, okay. There, and I don't know specifically looking at your tax bill, we can, and we have some experts in the room that can absolutely look at it and detail it line item by line item. But the end of the story and basically where it goes is the county had some increases in expenses like solid waste, and everybody had to absorb that because it's a user-based fee, and it had no choice. There's a little bit of history to it where it was reduced a handful of years back, and we were trying to use up a pot of money. We used up the pot of money, and now to break even, we had to raise the fees to where we put the fees just to break even on everyone's.
You had
There
raised
are
them
other
that
items
much
as
all
well.
at one time is all I'm questioning. Why so much at one time?
Yeah.
You should
Well,
have started this in the past a little
Yeah.
bit along.
You may be
instead of-
right. Perhaps we should have started last year raising it
You know-
smaller increments. That may be a valid point. Yes, sir.
It's
But,
almost $1,000 on one building. That's just,
yeah, but I don't see how that could be correct.
That's not solid waste alone. There has to be other things in there, yeah.
His value has increased because,
Yeah.
and the millage is stayed the same, but it's creating a bigger tax burden.
Right.
well, the value has increased according to this on it. The market value has increased. But
But,
according to most of the appraisals and anything else on any of the property values ain't increased. Most of us still owe the bank more than what the property's worth to start with.
have you talked to
So,
Mr. Pelletier? The
No,
property?
sir.
Okay, he's the one that can help you.
but it just.
I think we could
just
help him
seems
too,
like
though,
an awful-
if we wanted to not have it at 8.49, if we wanted to go to rollback or lower, we could help that process too.
It's not gonna happen.
You can't just, you
It
got
would.
you got
It
a
would
few
help.
renters in
It
this
would help
building.
if
You
we
can't
did-
just keep gouging them for rent. Pretty soon you lose your renters and you got nothing,
There's
you know, so.
Mr. Sherrill, Phil Pelletier, property appraiser.
Pleased to meet you.
Glad to meet you. There's a lot of things happen in increases. A lot of it has to do with prior properties, if people had exemptions and other things in it. I'm not saying it applies to you.
Yeah.
But their homestead protection, the increases in homestead can go back, and you don't receive that benefit. If somebody's been there 20 years and you buy the
Yeah.
property, their value goes to market value, so you may have lost that and may increase for that reason. But you come to see me tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock?
Well, I'll be working tomorrow
Okay, you
morning.
tell me what time you want to come over. And I can have somebody meet you in Clueston if that's the case, and we'll go over everything you have and see what increase.
Yeah, I
and
just,
If you have issues with
you know,
buildings, let us know.
this is quite a bit of difference that we're talking about on this thing, and that's kind of hard to bite off in one bite, you know.
That's fine, but
And that's
we'll be
just
glad to
one
sit down
piece
with
of
you.
property,
and
but-
It helps if you see where things came
Yeah.
from, and if you have buildings that's not there, buildings that's destroyed in some way, not because of hurricane, but prior to the hurricane, we look at them and we can adjust them as well. So it's a two-way street. So we got to know what you have, and we'll look at it from there and go straight forward. So
You're in
anytime.
Clueston, or?
I can be in Clueston. I was there today.
Tell him where your office is there.
That's upstairs in the third floor.
No, in Cloyston.
It's-
Because he lives and works out
I
of
live
Cloyston.
in Clueston.
Okay.
I go to work at
At
midnight.
the
most of the
sheriff's
time.
sub-office.
You know where
right.
the tax collector's office is?
Yes.
I'm on the backside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You tell me when you're going to be there. Just call the office.
Well, sometimes I don't ever know just what day I can be there.
Yeah.
But I'll,
Well, you call me and I'll meet you there.
if I can
I'll
find
have
out when
Dina
you're in
meet you there,
Clueston, I'll
and
be
I'll-
there, and you won't have to make a special trip. But
Well, it makes no difference. I serve everybody in the county, so I go either way. So come and see me.
all right.
Thank you, Mr. Pelletier. Thank you, Mr. Sherrill. We
Appreciate
appreciate
you.
your comments. We appreciate your concern. It's always good to hear from concerned citizens. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
We need to
Yes,
hear
sir.
from more.
Yep, I totally agree. Any other public comment? Discussion from the board?
Mr. Chair, that's a comment that I'm receiving from a lot of my constituents that, we're taxing people out of Hendry County. And I think that we need to keep that in mind. And I know there's a lot of things that are in that budget, but I just think that we should really doing everything in our power to implement a rollback, at least rollback. It's a solid step in the right direction. And from a standpoint of what our staff can do, they would still be able to get the job done. But I think I know where I'm going to be on the vote.
Well, on the other side of that, I understand too, and not everyone's going to be affected the same. The problem is, if we roll back now, like we've talked about this for the last 4 or 5 months, and it's not an I win, you lose thing for me. For me, it's reality. Court was shut down yesterday. Building was shut down yesterday. There's things that have to be fixed here. We've been putting Band-Aids. Yeah, I'm all about the salve and all the Band-Aids and stuff too, but the reality is, I've been working in this system for 28 years, and every time we just about get on our feet, we roll back, and we lose what ground we gained. So next year, I'll be the first one to jump on the boat and say, let's roll back. The reality is, this year we have so much, and now added to that is the debris, the different things we have to pay for, the buildings. I mean, and that's my thing there. My taxes, if they go up as well. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm not concerned about people's taxes. I am looking at all the MSBU's, and I'm saying we can save money in other places. The garbage tax, we went up 100%. Let's work on that. There's different places in here where we're going up ridiculous amounts. And as far as when you look at this, the normal person affected is going to be an average of $100 to $400 per year. That's what the average person is going to be. That's what they looked at when they did the study the last couple months. So there is going to be special exceptions like that. So it's not that I don't want to tax anyone either. But the reality is we have to provide a level of service, and right now we can't do that because we have 3 people in a maintenance department that are out in the middle of a storm in a cold shower and nowhere to go. The sheriff's department having to come in the courthouse because there's nowhere to go. So we really need to be thinking about what we need to do as far as keeping the county running.
And on top of, I was one of the ones that was really close, but decided that we absolutely need to move the county forward. And up until 2 weeks ago, I probably could have been still going either way. But now the latest figures that I'm getting is we may spend upwards of $3 million out of our disaster relief to shore up what happened 2 months ago. I know a lot of that's reimbursable.
But it could take 2 years to get.
But, if we deplete that and we put ourselves in a situation, I want to cut taxes to zero. That would be great. I would love to see that. I would love to do that. But unfortunately, we are in a physically constrained county, and we do have limitations, and I just don't see us being able to operate.
And we're not in that situation because we did not roll back. And there will be a time that we have to roll back, for the citizens. But at this time, you don't take everything out of a pot and be in the red. And that's going to help us because of the numbers that we have now. And right now, we need that. We need that. And different people that I talk to, if you talk to them, they understand. You just have to put it on their level where they do understand as if it was coming out their house.
And I believe Commissioner Turner is very valid.
Yeah.
He's very correct in what he's saying. I don't disagree at all with needing to roll back and paying taxes and people being burdened by that. I absolutely get it. But I'm just going to have to, you're going to have to show me where we can take it from. And I've not been shown that.
Part of that was the employees' raises. They're working now, and most of our employees will be able to get food stamps. They're that low in wages. So, and we're not going to give them a raise, and we expect them to get the buildings fixed. We have to get grounds kept, the cemeteries kept. I mean, there's a lot. Road and Bridge is under the same situations. So I just think we need a year, like I said earlier, to get back on our feet. Next year, I'll be jumping on the wagon with you. Let's reduce as much as we can.
I think didn't we have chillers out this week?
Yesterday, actually.
We had chillers. One of the biggest things I got, and I told when we did this in 2012 on the garbage, and people, like I told Mark, all they do is read, you went up 77%. Okay, we didn't go up 77%. We went to what it should have been to start with. But when people see that, that's $100 right off the top. You know, that's all they look at. And I've got more complaints about that $100 garbage than anything on the bill.
It's like the gentleman, they don't understand why you all, or why the commissioners or whoever made the decision didn't do a little bit at a time. But it didn't happen. There's nothing we could do about it now, you know, and everything's a learning experience, you know, because people have questioned me about it, but because it wasn't done and just got one pop, you know, they don't understand it, you know, but there's nothing that we could do about it now. You just,
I think we've seen it coming, if I'm not mistaken, and my colleagues, you know, we've seen it coming, and we purposely didn't do a little bit at a time so that they wouldn't have to pay more taxes along. That was the whole crux and reason we didn't.
and some of them didn't understand that that was the actual rate from the beginning, but the money that was there, you used it in, like as a courtesy to bring it down. But everybody don't understand it. All they look at is the bill and saw it go up, so.
Well, there was a time, Mr. Chair, that there were no other ways to cut. We were at 6.5 in the millage. We had cut everything close to the bone. I think, you know, we went from a $91 or $92 million total budget to like $63 million. But we're creeping back up. You know, I think we're at 70 point something today. And, you know, I just think that a 2% increase or 1.8% or whatever the increase is that we're seeing in property values doesn't equate to keeping the millage at 8.4. And, you know, I am seeing people that are being taxed out of coming back home. They're making a cognizant decision to say, I can go live elsewhere cheaper than going back to Hendry County and being taxed through all of the different ad valorem avenues. So we've really got to start looking at that. We've really got to start paying attention to that and understanding that there are a lot of people that are making hard decisions about, do I want to go back home? Do I want to be contributing to a society that is essentially making me pay for an unfair share? So
I'd like to see some of those. Not that I don't think people are saying that, but I'd like to see it and compare it myself just to see.
Yeah.
Well, the counties around us, I mean, it's hard to believe that you can go to Collier County, Lee County, even Highlands County and live cheaper than you can here.
I will put that data together then.
That'd be perfect.
I'd love to see it
for you. Yep.
I know that a lot of people from Miami-Dade come this way in West Palm, got a lot of friends, and they tell me how much cheaper it is here.
They come here.
That's why they come here. They come here, they swoop up the property, tax deeds and everything else, and so,
Well,
anyway, I mean, we could talk about it all night. But
Right.
But anyway, when, in 2007, 8, 9, 10, when we went to 6.5, that's when you couldn't do anything. So,
You guys realize all Beaver projections show us was one of the lowest growth rates in the state of 67 counties.
Growth in what area? Population?
Population. I mean, we're having a tough time supporting ourselves as is. But if you take us and look at projected growth as happening in Lee or Collier or Highlands or Charlotte, comparatively speaking, and I don't think Glades County is lower than us, but we're seeing it's a huge percentage lower from a standpoint of what their growth rates are in comparison to us. And we're actually outpacing some of the other heartland counties. And I just think that we got to start looking at that. We got to start asking ourselves, why is that occurring?
well, I don't think we can compare ourselves to Collier, Lee, or Charlotte.
We're saying that we have to compare ourselves to everybody in some manners. But what I'm saying is from a heartland standpoint, if you look at Hardee, DeSoto, which are mirror images of us.
Correct.
Highlands County, not so much, because you have 3 municipalities, 87,000 people, where we have 40. You just take the 2010 census alone and look at the outpacing that Okeechobee County did to us. I mean, those things to me start to look at what you have to start looking inside and saying, why is that growth occurring there and not occurring in our backyard? And I think I'm not saying that it's tonight and us going from 8.2 to 8.4 and not implementing, but I am saying that if you start to add all of those things together, and then you look at the fact that we have a huge percentage of our students that do go off and acquire 4-year degrees and they don't come back to live in our community forever, which is actually a misnomer. Usually, I think something like 86% of the time, you are born, live, and die within 60 miles of where you came out of mama. And we don't see that phenomenon occurring. And we have to start asking ourselves, why is that? Why is that? But neither here nor there. I'm belaboring the inevitable. I believe we have a vote to get.
We need a
moving
motion,
towards.
actually. Any further comment? Any further public comment? Seeing none, I need a motion to approve the resolution adopting a tentative millage rate.
So moved.
Motion moved by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Byrd. I have a motion and a second to adopt the tentative millage rate of 8.4909, which is 2.7%, 2.74% more than the rollback rate. All those in favor of this motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. The second item of business is the adoption of the tentative budget for fiscal year 2017-18. The next item of business is the adoption of the tentative budget. The appropriation of revenue estimate for the budget for the fiscal year 2017-2018 proposed is to be $70,501,029. This is a public hearing. Is there any public comment? Any public comment at this time?
Move to adopt.
Motion moved to adopt by Commissioner Harris. Is there a second? There's a second by Commissioner Byrd. Any further discussion from the board? Seeing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
That motion carries. Okay. The next, I think Attorney Lapp's going to help, is the adoption of the assessment for the East Hendry County Fire MSBU. You want to help go through this?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, we need to step through several of these MSBU's individually, and then we can take some of them later as a group. But the ones that are changing, we need to discuss individually. And the first one is the East Hendry County Fire MSBU. As you were informed at an earlier meeting, the rates haven't kept up with the expenses, have been depleting reserves, and also ag lands are no longer, we may not assess ag lands, so that removes some payers out of the system. So you can see the assessment increases. It's your memo there that shows you for each category. So the recommendation is to approve those increases.
Okay. Is there a motion to this effect?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve, and then I would love to see a report on actually how many structure fires we've had. You can go back 10, 20, history, I don't care. I'd love to see what data we have.
Second.
Motion moved by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Harris. This is a public hearing. Any members of the public wish to address this issue of the East Hendry County Fire MSBU? Seeing none. Any further discussion from the board? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Okay. Number 4 is East Hendry County Recreation MSBU.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this one was one that you, in December, approved a change in the boundaries of the recreational districts for east and west that basically moved Pioneer and some other communities there in the middle of the county out of west and into east. And this is formally making that change because it's now going to assess those people in the east district instead of west. So that's why we're calling this one out for a special vote and discussion.
So moved.
Motion moved by Commissioner Harris. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Turner. This is a public hearing. Any members of the public wish to address this issue of the East Hendry County Recreation MSBU? Discussion from the board. Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. The next is the assessment of the solid waste MSBU.
Yes, members of the board, this is the one that we've discussed a couple times previously. The reserve funds had been used for some time to basically balance that. The income did not cover the expenses, but reserve funds made up the difference, but the reserve funds have been depleted, and that's the reason for the increase, to reflect the actual expenses that are being paid out. So you can see the different increases for the different categories, and the recommendation is to approve it.
Are there any motions?
So moved.
Motion moved by Commissioner Harris. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Byrd. This is a public hearing. Does anyone from the public wish to discuss the solid waste MSBU proposal? Seeing none.
Just for the record,
Yes, sir.
the dollar amounts for this are slightly less than were on the trim notice. You know, after the trim notice went out,
Okay.
Mr. Parker and the contractor worked a little bit more and
Beat 'em up.
came down a little bit, so that's spelled out in the memo, but as for the record, I want to make it clear that they're a
Okay.
little bit lower than the trim.
Trim was 240.
Right, and then it's 235 now.
Good. Good work. Any discussion from the board? We have a motion on that?
Yes.
We did, from Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Byrd. No further discussion. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. The next is the adoption and assessment of the Hookers Point Streetlight MSBU.
Yes, ma'am.
Motion to approve.
Motion moved by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Byrd. Is there any special?
No.
There is not? Okay.
Nothing. I mean, it's an increase because of FPL rates.
Okay, gotcha. This is a public hearing. Any members of the public wish to address this issue? Okay. Seeing none, board, any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. The next is the adoption and assessment of the North LaBelle MSBU.
So moved.
Second.
Motion moved by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Turner. This is a public hearing. Does anyone wish to address this issue? Seeing no members of the public, discussion from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. The next is the assessment of the Murray Road MSBU.
So move.
Motion moved by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Wills. This is a public hearing. Does anyone from the public wish to address this issue? Discussion from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor of this motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. The next is the Port LaBelle Streetlight MSBU.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Turner. This is a public hearing. Does any member of the public wish to address this issue? Seeing none, discussion from the board? All those in favor of this motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? This motion carries. And number 10 is the Mosquito Control MSBU. Are there any motions?
So moved.
Motion moved by Commissioner Harris. Is there a second?
Wait,
Wait.
What happened?
it's all of them.
Yeah.
Can we stop at 9?
Right, you can take, correct, and 9 is the
10,
end of the
oh,
ones.
okay, yeah.
But 10, we did want to just call
That's
out
right.
for
We had to do
mosquito
10
control.
individually. That's right.
It was proposed for increase. The trim notice said there would be an increase, but the final recommendation is not to increase, so this is a status quo assessment.
It's back to 30?
31 plus.
Well, depending on for
dwelling.
vacant,
How
but no,
many?
excuse me, for per dwelling is 30, correct.
Okay. So it's back the way it was.
It's staying status quo from last year
Okay.
is the amount. And that's the case for the rest of these 11 through 21, the rest of these MSBU's and the East
Okay.
Hendry County Drainage District, they're all status quo, no increase
All right.
on the
Those
assessments.
mosquitoes need to be in, with all of these?
That can be together because it's staying the same. It
Okay,
can
so
be
we're okay to
grouped.
do 10 through 21.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
I move
Okay.
on 10 to 21.
There's a
Second.
motion from Commissioner Harris, seconded by Commissioner Turner to approve 10 through 21. This is a public hearing. Is there any members of the public wish to address any of these? Members of the board, any questions or comments?
Just, I'd like, Shane, I do want to have a conversation with you now, time certain before December, about East Hendry County Drainage District and the potential of bumping that assessment and actually doing a couple different projects in the drainage district there that would be a huge improvement in quality of life, and I think would also help with our mosquitoes issues out that way. That's
Okay.
next year, obviously.
Oh, yeah, all right, dry season. Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of these motions, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Very good. We need to do 22 separately, Attorney Lapp?
On 22, you all got that, right?
Yes.
I would just ask if, so I think the genesis of this, I don't know if it came from staff having a brainstorm or if this was from conversation that was led by us. But Ms. Embledge, I would love for everything to calm down a little bit. I understand what you're trying to do here, but I would love to discuss the overall inventory and then actually have like Ms. Byrd, yeah, actually all of the commissioners, but myself especially, I know of at least 2 501c3s that are trying to help with our affordable housing issues as it relates to professionals in our community. And I don't think this is a bad idea, but I would love to look at if there was some ways that we could maybe marry that up a little bit. And I'd really like to bring our school board into that discussion as well, because I think that this is a pot of money that we maybe could gear towards our school board and them and their ability to help with first-year teachers that are coming in or teachers that are here that are contemplating leaving or just, looking at some of those different mechanisms that are out there, because that is something that I'm hearing time and time again we're struggling with in Hendry County is affordable housing for our teachers,
Right.
and that creates a situation of turnover. And there's a direct correlation to teachers and their years in the school, familiarity with the community, and success. So would y'all be agreeable to us just holding out and having a conversation that's really long about that? Maybe a separate workshop all into itself?
If I may, I would appreciate it if you would approve what's presented to you tonight. I don't see how it's no harm, no foul at this point with what I'm proposing to be able to use the $14,000 to assist the folks that have been impacted by Irma as, described in the guidelines here, and it's very specific and on a first-come, first-serve. But to have the broader discussion, our intent was to have a workshop, an affordable housing workshop this month, and that's been delayed because of.
Yes, ma'am.
We're busy doing other things, but I will tell you that we are also busy with pulling together other resources that add to the picture of what we have here. And I'll be honest with you, I go back to our biggest challenge is to get builders to build affordable housing. And we have builders that have come in this past year and a half that are building single-family homes, but they're out of reach for most folks that work in essential services. And I think we have a lot of tools. We need to bring them together, and we need to bring everybody to the table to talk about it, and that's part of the intent of the workshop that we'll schedule.
We can okay this and then have a workshop.
Absolutely, that's what I'm hoping you'll do tonight.
But $14,000, I mean, just off the hip, not going to hold you anything, but you're going to burn through this within hours, no?
That's quite likely because our rents because this is what it's, part of this is geared towards that. But our rents in the county range from $575 to $1,000 approximately a month. And so if you look at helping them with the first and second month's rent or the security deposit and so on, this is outside of our HUD and SHIP is what we're adding to this program. Now, if we have somebody that is eligible for a HUD voucher, then we can help more. And we have 7 HUD vouchers that are currently available, but that doesn't mean we have 7 rental units that are currently available.
Do y'all know, I don't know what it means to have a HUD voucher. Can you give me a synopsis?
HUD voucher is, depending on your income, will pay for part of your rent.
Okay.
HUD pays for part of the rent. That's
If you
how
can't
it works.
pay the rent, you can fill out a voucher, just like you can at United Way.
Okay.
They all do the same.
Well, and then I see must be Hendry County residents 6 months prior to Hurricane Irma. I don't know the verification process for that. And I mean, once again, y'all just got to forgive me, but my spider senses go crazy on stuff like this because there are bottom feeders that know these things. When they see pots of money come available, they apply. You don't know from Adam's house cat. You never call Commissioner Harris and say, hey, do you know Carson Turner who came in here to ask for $2,000 of rent forgiveness? You end up stroking a check. And and looking at this process, it just seemed like, first off, it seemed like you're trying to do a good job of getting people money to help so they can stay in their home. But I just don't know if your systems of checks and balances are rigorous enough. So, I mean, just one thing I was thinking was, if you were going to do this, just making it like a reference program, they have to go to someone that knows it. We're all trying to give people a hand up, not a handout. And I think that it has a lot of good potential, but I just want to make sure that we don't have people that are gaming the system because 14,000s go like that.
Is there not a procedure that they have to go through? They don't.
Yeah, there is.
They can't just fill out the information. There is a background check and everything.
Yes.
'Cause I had a young lady that was housing in Clewiston because she got evicted. She didn't qualify. So I know there are some procedures that they can't just get in.
I know some of them you have to have eviction notice and turn that in with it. And that shows that if you don't pay the rent, you're leaving. United Way, you got to have eviction notice. Then you got to fill out all the paperwork.
How do you know that there's no duplication that's occurring too? I'm just wondering, how do y'all verify that process?
I don't think you can.
Well,
They say they're going to.
based on our programs,
Yeah.
we have a checks and balance for that.
Okay.
That's a non-issue. If they're utilizing other programs, I honestly don't know the answer of how we would check that. There may be a process that's done, but I unfortunately don't know the answer to that.
And Commissioner Turner's right. And I think some of the answer probably lies with sometimes, the goal is to help folks and to keep folks in homes and to get them back to work. And you don't want to foster that or help that, but sometimes we don't like it. But at the end of the day, we're doing it under the auspice of trying to help. We do everything we can to try to make it that way.
I think even they use children and family through the Y, to make sure they was legit with the information.
It don't matter how hard you try.
Somebody's
Somebody's gonna get through the
It's always
crack.
people
Yeah.
who
So
Commissioner.
this is Hurricane Irma disaster.
It's
Assistance.
creating guidelines for what we created last year for using the dollars for the proceeds of sales to augment our existing HUD and CHIP programs. We've added the guidelines for that. That's new. And then we added the Hurricane Irma assistance. And if nothing else, I would appreciate it if you would at least adopt the guidelines for the HUD and CHIP programs that we have, because that's really been in place for the past year. We just never really, we never laid out the guidelines like this.
I move to approve the proposed resolution.
In its entirety.
Yes, as presented.
Is there a second?
Second,
Motion moved by Commissioner Harris to approve the resolution as presented, second by Commissioner Byrd.
and I just, we have to judge your call on this, that, that you will have to check and balance, I don't think you would have presented otherwise. I understand what Commissioner Turner's talking about, because there are people, some of them so good that you don't even see them coming, so.
Understood.
Hopefully that, with what you guys are doing, that you'll be able to see it before it get there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Kind of what we got set up here in town right now through all the churches. We partner together. We also have United Way at different places. But what that does, if they go to one organization or the other, we have a database, we can see it. You can set up a spreadsheet. And if you talk with them down there, do the same thing. That's the way we keep from the same issues here, there, until they've tapped all the resources and start back over at one. So we come together, we work that out. So that's one way we could look at that.
Nice.
It's the
Because
same.
they used to make a round.
But they did, but that's come to a halt now that we can all, that we're communicating. Bless you.
And Mr. Chair, like on bullet point C or letter C, will this be handled county and then SHIP and HUD are handled through those? Or will you add this pot of money to the SHIP and HUD program as it exists already, and they will monitor it? Because when I want to report back, when I'm trying to get data sets to know how successful it's being operated, I will make that request to you, but do you think that they'll be able to get you that information?
Well, this is over and above the SHIP and HUD program.
Yes, ma'am. Understood.
So we would track that
Okay.
and handle that directly with the applicant. And again, it would be a separate mortgage.
Yes, ma'am.
And even though I'm calling it a grant, it still would track what the SHIP and HUD programs requirements are, but it wouldn't necessarily be part of their program directly, if that made sense.
It does.
It just
It does.
augments.
And then let me ask you this. I mean, you've boxed yourself in with that first 2 months rent not to exceed a security and first 2 not to exceed. I mean, but you said yourself our averages were $575 to $1,000. Isn't that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the reason why I picked that amount, sir, is because we do have somebody that has a 4-bedroom homes that they're renting out for $1,350 a month. And in case that would work,
Yep.
I wanted to be able to capture that opportunity.
So you get into a 4-bedroom home, $2,700, no security deposit. Y'all just work with them and talk to them, and maybe they'll make that happen.
Right.
I got you. Okay.
That's more like an average around $1,300.
Yeah.
If you find one for $500 around here, it's,
Well,
wow.
that's Green Tree.
And then you got to meet certain criteria. You don't.
Exactly.
You're not to go there anyway.
Right.
What's the one, I don't know if it's Green Tree behind Assembly of God. It's Green Tree as well, right?
Same
Yeah,
organization.
okay.
Well, also now, keep in mind this, that every month when they call SHIP and HUD, within the first 2 days, they have no rent money and they have no electric bill money. In the first 2 days, they're depleted.
We burned through the light heap in 2 days.
2 days.
If they only serve 13, you have to call before a certain time if you're gonna get your
Right.
lights cut on.
You don't get anything.
And there is a circle that
Right.
if you have used up what you're supposed to get, you don't get it. Cause I got a lady now, she was coming for help, but she have depreciated everything that she's supposed to get, and they won't give it to her. So they do track it. They do track it.
When it's gone, it's gone. So you got about 2 days and that's it.
Go fast.
Well, and our programs don't cover the electric and so on, that those are other programs. LIHEAP is implemented by the Ag Department. Is that,
United Way does electric.
well,
Way, yeah.
through United Way, but anyway.
Any further discussion?
No, I'm eager to see. Just once again, what do you think? 60 days is all gone? 45.
It won't take long, 30.
I'll, quite honestly, because we don't have rental units like I wish we could, it's going to take a while. It's
Really?
gonna, yes. I'm going to say that it could be more than a couple months just because of finding rental units.
Oh, because there's just no place to put people.
Exactly.
I got you.
Yes.
I got you.
Everything's full.
In the unit, they have to qualify for HUD. They can't just rent, you know.
Right, right. So this is not going to just go flying out.
Well, I think it's a great thing that you've added to the box of tools of helping, you know, so.
Yep. We definitely have that need. This is a public hearing. Is there any members of the public wish to address this issue? Seeing none, any further board discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Emlich.
Mr. Chair, we could just make sure when y'all get a date certain for when we want to start back up on that discussion. It is something that I really think we need to get our school board involved with. Yes, ma'am.
To that end, Mr. Chair, is the housing workshop was scheduled for October 10th, I believe is the first or the second Tuesday of the month. We've moved it to the fourth Tuesday of the month is when the workshop will be scheduled.
Okay.
Or you've moved it again?
Fourth Tuesday is Halloween.
We haven't scheduled it yet. That's on hold right now. Sorry, we didn't have that discussion.
Not a problem. Not a problem. So we'll get that date to
Oh, no,
ASAP.
Okay.
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 Yeah.
All right. Moving right along, that concludes the public hearings. Is that correct? Attorney Lapp? Okay. Nothing under Section 5 correspondence. There are some in correspondence FYI. Next thing will be staff reports. So moving along to staff reports.
Mr. Chair, before we get started with Mr. Parker under item A1 is just to clarify and finish up an item that was assigned to staff at a previous board meeting, and that was to move the October 24th board meeting to October 26th. There's a request made by the board to look at that. All board members are available on that date. Just wanted to get that ratified by the board.
Okay. Do we need a motion? Or just a nod?
Wait, I'm sorry. I thought we were going the 3rd and the 10th now. Is that?
Oh, no. He's talking,
I'm
well,
talking about the end of the month.
it's the regular second meeting of the month he's
Okay.
talking about.
All right. Okay.
So what, give me that date again?
26.
Thursday, it would be moving Tuesday, October 24th to Thursday, October 26th.
That'd be in Clewiston.
No, it'd be here.
Yeah. So,
2
okay.
days later than normal.
Are we not having a meeting on the 3rd now?
So why don't I recap the meetings?
I'm so confused.
Yeah, and for the benefit of the public too, we just had the tentative budget hearing. The final budget hearing will be a special meeting of the board occurring Tuesday, October 3rd.
Okay, good.
5:30 PM in Clewiston at City Commission Chambers. And there'll be an ad that's running in a newspaper Sunday about that, but for everybody's benefit, final budget hearing, Tuesday, October 3rd, 5:30 PM, Clewiston City Hall, and that's the only item of business, is the final budget and millage. It's not a general, regular meeting. And then Tuesday, October 10th is a regular meeting occurring at 5 PM at Clewiston City Hall, regular county business. That's a standard meeting date and time.
Okay. So the only change is 24th, 26th.
Now we're talking about the second meeting in October, whether to move that from October 24th to some other date.
If you need a motion, I'll make one. Move from 24th, 26th October.
Okay. Is that, we need to act on that? Is that an official motion to make that happen?
Yeah, I think it ought
Okay.
to.
We have a motion by Commissioner Harris to move the BOCC meeting from October 24th to October 26th. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Turner. Any discussion? Everyone clear? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you.
So just for clarification, we are having 3 meetings in the month of October.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Okay, now we are with A1 now.
For the record, Shane Parker, Henry County Public Works Director. First item I have for you is the Fourth Amendment to Solid Waste and Recyclable Materials Collection Franchise Agreement between Progressive Waste Solutions and Hendry County. And this is basically we're eliminating 2 franchise districts, north and south, and making them one big district. And the rate is going to be, for them to collect, is going to be $12.74 instead of being $12.74 in the north, $16 in the south. That would result in a savings of about $11,344.80, or $80,000, just under $80,000 over 7 years. And I do have, they've agreed to pick up with a claw truck up to 120 cubic yards of yard trash per fiscal year, free of charge. After that, it'll be $75 per hour.
So how much, a big truck, Shane?
Claw truck like we used to have before.
Yeah. So how many trucks would that be?
4.
4?
As we need it. I mean, they do the horticulture pickup, but if we have a problem here, we go over and pick it up.
Bet you can only do 4 a year.
120 cubic yards total,
Yeah.
4 for that whole year whenever you want it.
That'll go fast.
Well,
That's okay.
it's been improving. It's not.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not
We're
been
getting
that
there.
bad.
Getting better. Okay, is there any?
We have a couple hurricanes, we won't have any.
That's right.
You don't need, you
All
won't
piled
have
up now.
a move to accept option 1.
Motion moved by Commissioner Harris and second by Commissioner Byrd to accept option 1. Is there any discussion from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Mr. Parker, you want to keep going?
The next one, Chairman, is a termination of the solid waste recyclable collections materials collection franchise agreement for the South District, because the earlier one just combined them into one large district.
Move to adopt option 1.
Motion moved by Commissioner Harris, seconded by
I second.
Commissioner Byrd. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Mr. Parker, mosquito
Chairman.
control?
This was the approval of the annual certified budget for mosquito control, which is required per the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. You've already seen this under the detailed work plan budget. No numbers have changed. Asking for approval of that.
Any motions?
So move.
Motion moved by Commissioner Harris. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wills. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. LaBelle Airport.
Next one, Chairman, Mile High Race Club event license agreement. If you recall, we had approval to close the airport from November 3rd to November 6th.
Motion
Negotiating
to approve
agreement.
option 1.
Motion moved by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Harris. I do want to ask a question about that,
Okay.
Mr. Parker. And I, on the surface, I don't have a problem with it. I know that we've already got one agreed and happening. My only question is what in this, do we have the ability in this to get out of it? So what if we go through the first one and it's a wreck? They don't clean up. It takes a day longer and the aircraft are totally displaced. You know what I mean?
Right.
So do we have the ability to say, well, this first one didn't go so well. We don't think we should do
Yes,
this.
you do. This is only for a one-time deal. You
This is
haven't
the second one.
No, sir. You haven't approved. We haven't issued a license agreement for the first one.
Okay.
We're negotiating that. You approved
This
a
was for
certain.
one in January, I thought.
Well, we're moving it to January because there's a review time required by FAA and DOT.
Okay, so we couldn't do the one in November.
We wouldn't meet the deadline.
All righty.
So now it's getting pushed to
I
January,
see.
and I don't know if FAA and DOT's have
Yeah.
enough time to review it. And
Yeah.
we've already negotiated
Sorry.
negotiated agreement,
Okay.
but they still have to approve it.
Right,
We may
right.
have to push the date out again.
I see what you're saying. I'm sorry. I just thought this was in addition to the
Right.
November one.
Are you pretty sure they approve it?
I don't know.
I think you should ask, I think someone in the county should ask Swamp Cabbage Festival if they would like to have it the same weekend. I think it would bring a lot of people to Swamp Cabbage, but if
It might.
LaBelle thinks that their infrastructure can't handle it, then by all means, we shouldn't. I mean,
Yeah.
I know it's packed,
It's
but
pretty packed.
it might be pretty awesome to just add to that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. You answered my question. Thank you. Any further discussion?
Yeah, you scared me.
I know, right?
Oh, you were saying they had a second one. I was like, hey,
Well,
man.
I'm sorry. Yeah, man. Yeah. Scared myself.
Oh, we know about it.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion passes.
Chairman, the next one's renewal of the agreement between Henry County and Clark Environmental Mosquito Management, Inc. for mosquito control services. We're required to give them 90 days' notice if we desire not to move forward with them, so that we can issue a invitation to bid, a request for proposal.
Any motions?
Option one.
Is there a second? You were moving that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Motion moved by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Harris. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Anyone opposed? The mosquitoes oppose.
Thank you,
Okay.
Chairman.
Ms. Papadon?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Janet Papanow, Grants Director. In our department, I also do the ad valorem tax exemption paperwork. And this is an old exemption that we granted several years ago, but they never used it. So,
Mr. Chair, not to cut you off, I would like to make a motion to exercise option 2 and ask all Juices and Beverages LLC to come and have a nice chat with us if they feel that needs to happen in the public. I understand, but I think that that's something they can handle with you, and then we can come back with us.
and we have invited them.
This
We've been in
company,
contact.
I mean, they're making it happen. They're trying to expand. They're doing everything in their power, and I think that if there's any way we can help them, we need to do it. I don't know if we're going to be able to, but this is the definition of business retention and business expansion.
I like it. When you say you invited them and they.
Yes, they've been informed of the meetings. We had the change in the date, but I did inform their attorney that we were going to do this, and I said we need to make them an offer if they'd like to renegotiate or something, but they have not responded yet.
Okay.
But we can still keep the conversation open.
Very good. Motion moved by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Harris for option 2. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of this motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Newhouse.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, the packages before you tonight are the EMPA and EMPG grants. These are the grants that we do every year that provide budgetary allow for the payment of 2 positions in the emergency management department.
Okay.
Move to
Awesome.
accept.
Motion moved by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Byrd. Is there any discussion or questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You gonna stick around, Mr. Newhouse?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We may stick, okay, yeah, we got 7. Well, that was 7. We'll go ahead and do 8.
Okay.
Do the same thing.
It's same grant. One is a
Second
state
grant.
grant and one is a
Right.
federal grant.
Motion moved by Commissioner Harris, seconded by
Second.
Commissioner Turner. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of this motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion passes. Very good.
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Newhouse. And then stick around later, too. We may talk some more.
Yes, sir.
Attorney Lapp.
Yes, first item is to have the board ratify the declarations and extensions of the local state of emergency. In your packet is the original declaration, the amended declaration, the first extension, the second extension. and then-
So you want to kill it tonight
No,
at time
no,
certain?
no.
We're going to extend it?
Right,
Why?
what-
When,
So the second took you through 5 p.m. today. The decision among staff and discussion with the chairman was to extend, do a third extension today that would take us another week through 5 p.m. next Tuesday. I can tell you that in discussions with other county attorneys who did they did a seminar about that at the FACA this past summer about emergency, states of emergency, and they urge that you keep it open as long as you have emergency needs. And, we still feel like we are in an emergency needs at this point. There's no harm in keeping it open, and there may be some benefit to keeping it open. And I can tell you, like, Flagler County told me they're still extending their Matthews state of emergency from last October. Now, I'm not suggesting we need to go a full year, but I think we're still in the phase of we're still recovering significantly at this point.
Decisions need to be made that you need that veil of protection to make them.
so is that long enough?
Well, all we can do by state law is 7 days at a time. Counties only have authority to do 7 days at a time. So this is going to be at the longest we can make it is 7 days. So we've made it 7 days again. The chairman just signed that this afternoon to take us till next Tuesday. And I was going to ask that your motion tonight be to approve that third extension as well. ratify it. The action was taken, but you're ratifying.
If he's, so he's already signed it.
He's already signed it,
So
yeah.
it's already done.
It's done, and it's in effect. We're just asking that you ratify and confirm that you concur with that approach. It's not legally required that that occur, but another thing that they were urging us to do is get your board to ratify these actions, so if there's ever any question about whether it was well advised to do, then your full board was behind it.
Okay.
So it's not legally required that we do it, but we're doing it.
Right.
You already did it, but we're just going to go ahead and vote on the fact that we're doing something that wasn't legally required to do.
Supporting the fact.
I like it.
You're supporting the fact that.
You know what we're doing? We're making Attorney Lapp play in the gray area. You see, he's coming over to the dark side, guys.
He's getting us to ratify that dark side.
There you go. He's been nervous all day since 5 o'clock, since the clock hit.
And he made the chairman sign
He
it.
said, Commissioner Swindle, sign this.
Made you sign it.
Yeah, he did. 3 times.
He's so mad that the meeting started at 5:30.
You're illegal too.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Motion moved by Commissioner Harris, by the way. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Byrd. Is there any further discussion?
You're
I'm
illegal
not touching
too.
this one. I'm going to vote against it because the next time I run for re-election, I've violated sunshine for all of us discussing something in a public meeting, so.
That's right.
No further discussion. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion passes. Okay, do we handle that in its entirety, Mr. Lapp?
Well, that item.
Mark, will we discuss that on the 3rd?
Well, no, that's not a regular meeting. That's the final budget hearing. I mean, if you want to provide some direction on continuation of states of emergency, then you can do that right now. I mean, you can state some desires, intentions, opinions on that subject. I mean, we're at the
Well, while I don't like this, just because I think state of emergency is just play on words, but maybe it's going to help with regards to reimbursement rates. I don't know, and I'm starting to get wore out with that phrase of concern as well. I say that we go ahead and we say at least until we'll renew it every 7 days until October the 26th to discuss time certain that night. Is that?
So could we add another week on it?
No, you can only do it a week at a time. So each Tuesday, the chairman is going to have to himself, because this is within his authority, to conclude that it needs to continue. But I mean, you all are
You can
basically
ratify and approve it
stating.
through there as a board.
Yeah.
But because there's no meeting on the 25th.
But you don't have to have a meeting if we make that.
It's okay to do it up through the month of October, essentially is what we're saying.
Technically, it's okay to do it without even ratifying it, but it's strongly suggested. Yes, ma'am. Exactly.
Yes.
That was a room full of attorneys that suggested that, so we ought to go with that.
Commissioner Turner, do you present a motion to that effect?
Make a motion to make the state of emergency.
Well, I'm sorry.
Come on, tell me, Mark.
We don't need to do this. I mean, the chairman is the one.
Okay, so we're just
vested with the
giving
authority.
direction.
You're just
The chairman
saying
and you can
your
do it.
opinions
Okay.
here. We've heard it, and
Come on,
then,
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
See, you made him
Yeah, make it
uncomfortable
official. We're
again.
fixing to make it,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's official.
that's official. Okay, we're good with it. Everybody's good with it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Before my comment, Mark would let us make that motion.
Attorney Lapp, you're next also.
Right. Well, we had some more ratification here. We had some emergency contracts that were signed over these past couple weeks. I think you can see, well, I've explained them all in detail. They're pretty low financial impact scenarios, but just in an abundance of caution, we're asking the board to ratify each of those.
Move to ratify.
Can we do them all at once?
Yeah, you can do them all at
Okay.
once, and including the authority to sign any necessary documents if anybody determines it later is necessary for the.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. So I don't know if y'all got the call on the Southwest Florida Workforce Development Board, but they were, this is going to sound like I hate people, but they're paying so much money that they were taking employees from companies. So like, I didn't lose any laborers, but I know some roofing companies and some agricultural companies that the Southwest Florida Workforce Development Board was, I think it was 180 or, I don't know, it worked out to like $15 an hour. I mean, it wasn't chump change. And so I just think we need to have that discussion of how they're going to make that, because we can't hurt our workforce in an effort to, we're displacing workers essentially. And so I don't know how that whole conversation needs to come about.
And that program was called the Displaced Worker Program, by the way, just so you'll know.
Yeah.
But it's not,
Oddly enough.
but it's not for people that don't have a job.
It's for people.
Oh, but it was a lot of people, from what I was expressed by employers,
They're taking them.
they had a handful of people, and it was more than just one or two. I mean, we're getting into a dozen. I don't know. I would think that that would be easily verified. If that was just, anecdotal, or did that really occur?
It did occur.
That they left their place of employment,
Based on employee.
went there, worked, and
But see, and this is only for, I think this is only, they can only do this for a year. So then they might not have a job when they come back.
they can do it. This is for a year.
I was told they can do this for a year.
That long, oh, okay.
Because I pulled people that I did low-income people that didn't have
Right.
a job.
Right. Was intended for.
Yeah, that's what it was
that's what it-
intended to help those people.
On the CenturyLink, just out of curiosity, I was told we had lost service throughout Felda and several other areas because of towers going down, generators running out of gas. Is that something we can verify? I mean, are they gonna do better at this next time we have a problem, or?
We're actually going through a true-up audit now to make sure that all of the tickets have been served from the actual hurricane itself and to make sure that the problems have been identified. But Mr. Purdy is already in discussions with them about some of these other contracts that we currently have with them because the lack of service that we had was unacceptable. They literally got us back started and let the tank run dry on one of their nodes that caused our phone system to go down not once but twice.
Wow.
So we're working through those customer service issues, and we will be bringing back something to adjust their contract.
Yeah, I see those, and here's the reason I was asking the question. I see them, we're talking about them now, so.
I also, Mr. Chair, thank you for bringing that up, Commissioner Wills, because I kind of pushed past it to go to that workforce development issue, but I wanted to come back. I don't know about redundancy and the ability for us to have that. I don't know if Comcast even can serve. I don't know, but I just think we ought to look at that because there were a ton of people that called me that said they're trying to get a hold of the county. They can't get a hold of anybody. And they don't know Charles. They don't know Mark. They don't know anybody else. They know Commissioner Turner. And so, and I know y'all fielded the exact same calls to the nth degree. So, if there's any way to get a redundant system, and I know there's a number of employers that are already doing that as well because either they had Comcast and they were out and now they're saying they're going to get CenturyLink as well. But we still have other issues with CenturyLink that we've got to work through. That's another discussion all to itself.
A bunch.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? We have a motion and a second on that, don't we? You move it?
I got a motion, no second.
Is this a
I've
motion
never
in favor
seconded
for
a motion.
all of them?
Yes, we're doing them.
I don't want to go crazy, guys, and I don't know Michael Cox from Adams House Cat, but I want to give him something more than $1, because from what I gathered, he just said make it happen. Didn't ask
Did
me.
y'all address that? Or was there something else going on there? Or was he just out of kind of his heart, a donation? What was he?
I do know it.
He did donate the building, yeah.
He just-
I was actually there on site with him.
Did he need something else? Was he just?
No.
Give him
How long?
Give him a couple $100. I don't care if he did it for a day, Commissioner.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying if it's going to be 6 months, then we need.
Oh,
it's a
we're still
different
there.
issue,
Yeah,
but I'm just
absolutely.
saying, is it was
And
for a
that-
week or what?
This is something he wanted to do.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
They reached out to rent buildings. The buildings they reached out to were full. This one he had just built, it just being built. So he offered to build, and that's how we ended up with
And
it.
how long do we intend? How long do we?
It's only
think
30
we'll have?
days.
30 days.
It's only 30 days
A
at
nice
$1,
letter of
and then we have to
donation, so you can take
renegotiate
it
if
off
we
as
still need
taxes
it.
Or something like
Oh.
that. Would that be good?
I think so.
A letter of donation of the value of the rent, so he can take that off as taxes.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
see what you, I'll follow you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could determine the market rent of that and
We could,
That'd be a good
Something.
one.
Okay.
Okay.
if your motion, if you want to do that, if you make the motion to include directing necessary revisions to the lease to allow for the market rent, because I'm afraid if we don't modify it, then it would look like his only compensation is $1, and he really wouldn't get the benefit of the tax deduction. So we'll reword it so that it's
Yes.
clear he's
Are
getting
you
the.
okay with amending that with your
Yeah.
motion? Okay.
we'll
Very
let,
good.
we'll let Mark reword it.
Okay.
Fair market value.
Any further discussion? Good discussion. Good point, Commissioner Turner. Anything else? Is there a second, by the way? We have a motion from Commissioner Harris and second from Commissioner Wills. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of this motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion passes. I think that is.
Add-on
We do have
contract
an add-
that Ms.
That's
Davis-
right, Ms. Davis. Thank you.
I make a motion to approve the contract that Ms. Davis has presented to all of us in the amount of $85K to get Bryant Roofing. Bryant Roofing started on the Health Department.
Second.
Motion moved by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Harris. Is there any discussion? Anything you need to add or question? Okay. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Davis.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
as it relates to that issue, I think, I don't remember who I talked to with staff, and I didn't even talk to them, I just emailed them, but I don't want to do it now, but I just think in the future, in an effort to make sure that we don't hold the process up, if we want to up that threshold for giving our county administrator and his brain trust the ability to say, it's 100 or 125, as in a declared state of local emergency or something, just put some wording in there so that you're not running roughshod, not that you would anyway, but we can't have critical infrastructure down,
I agree.
It was leaking for 2 weeks.
Yeah, because as try as we may, we're 2 weeks away from the storm, a screw hasn't been turned, so.
All right, so if what I'm hearing is that that's an ordinance that establishes the $50,000 cap on emergency spending authority by the administrator during a local state of emergency. So you can amend that ordinance, and we can schedule for public hearing, and, I don't know if you're.
Well, y'all look at it. I think if you look at our critical infrastructure list, you look at what some of those costs could potentially be,
Do you have to do it, a number certain, or can you put a certain task there, like if the roof blows off?
Yeah.
It's got to be repaired, let's not wait on that, or does it have to be bound to a
No,
number?
it could, maybe you could have you could state it in terms of description of work that is necessary that it occur.
it's not like county
regardless of
administrator,
expense.
it's not like he made that in a vacuum,
Right.
I'm sure he spoke with Alan, I'm sure he spoke with Jennifer, I'm sure he spoke with Shane, everybody was on board with that. But
Yeah,
it's just like,
quotes.
Mr. Parker, isn't your engineering roof, if it rains today, is it leaking in there, or y'all got it somewhat covered up? So if it rains today, okay. You're just further beating the drum. That's all you're doing right now is you're siding with Commissioner Wills that we've been using Band-Aids and salve. I appreciate that, Shane. I got the job. But
FEMA tarps. Thank you.
But we that's not acceptable, and that's going to be something that your insurance is going to reimburse us, whatever reason we're waiting on that. And I'm not hammering on y'all saying I can't believe you haven't done this. I'm just saying get it done, get it done, get that turned around, call up your contractors and make it happen, because we can't have that.
No.
More destruction is going to occur.
Yep.
The problem is, the longer you wait, the contractors are saying now they're 2 to 3 weeks out just getting materials. So the longer you wait to do that, the longer it's going to put it
Probably
off.
going to peak worse because.
But good news, though, I talked to 2 pulp mills in Georgia just to have that, and they said that they feel that they're meeting they feel like they can keep the supply houses, the big boxes that everybody goes to, plus your WWs and stuff. They said that they're able to meet it now.
That's good.
Yeah, and they said that Puerto Rico, it doesn't matter what happens with Puerto Rico, Turks and Caicos, the whole Caribbean, it's not gonna hurt them. They lifted, so they have quotas that they can only cut, and they lifted all the quotas in the southeast. Yeah.
So while we're on this, Charles, can you give us an update on our new roof?
Do we have an update as far as that?
The new roof that leaked?
It's under warranty, so it is actually being adjusted and assessed, and we're going to get that
It's
under
only 2
warranty.
weeks old.
I think some of the leaks here wasn't the roof, though, they were windows.
But
It wasn't all roof
Mr.
leaks that we had.
If you will, Mr. Parker, shed some light.
shed
For the
some-
record, Shane Parker, Henry County Public Works Director. There was some cracks on the second floor on the outside facade, wide as your hand. Wind was blowing, the rain went in, leaked through. There were some windows, small windows that were not a part of the roof project where they blew out and were leaking. We had Christelle out here looking at it. Alan did. I wasn't able to make it, but Alan, I forget the day, it might have been Thursday last week. So we're working with them to get them to come out and see if they can make the repairs, do some forensic. see if
So
they
the
get it
roof's
fixed.
okay.
As far as I know, the roof's okay. There was some metal that was bent a little bit, but we had it,
Limbs hitting it or something.
there were some limbs hit the gutter on this side,
If it held
That
up
was-
to that, it's okay.
Yeah, that's right. It ought to be good.
but it held up good.
Yeah, the roof wasn't, the more problems was, like you said, the bricks and the windows were the more of your problems. The roof did well.
Good. Thank you.
Good news.
Yep.
Before we proceed too much longer, the sheriff did send us correspondence today wanting to discuss the matter of the overtime pay related to Hurricane Irma. And before we got too far along, I want to make sure I jogged your memory about that he wanted to
Okay.
speak to.
As good a time as any. Hello, Sheriff Whidden.
Hello, how are y'all?
Super.
Thank you for allowing me to speak to you today. As you know, Hurricane Irma put undue stress on our overtime budget. We had all available resources out, every deputy we had, for about 9 days around the clock, to a tune of $297,069.51. This money will be reimbursed to us, but we have to have it to make it through the budget year. So I was hoping that the board could fund this money until FEMA refunds us, and then we can return that money to you.
100% refundable? Or is
Yes,
there
sir.
a percentage where you get a percentage?
I believe it's 100%.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
What are you looking at? I know FEMA, when you say FEMA, that could be 2 years from now.
I don't know, but we have to make it. I mean,
You still got to pay them.
yeah, they've been paid, so we got to make it to
So
the
it's
end
going
of
to
the
create a
budget year.
shortfall. You paid them, but you
Yes,
know
sir.
you're going to have a shortfall
Yes,
now
sir.
on that amount.
Then
Yes, sir.
that goes to Jennifer question.
All the constitutional officers by law have to give excess fees by October 31st of every year, so he's going to have to close out his books as well as all the other constitutional, and they have to basically start at zero according to law. So because that's right around the corner, and he paid out almost $300,000, his books are going to be upside down. So he's going to need to book that on his balance sheet. We would have to do the same and apply for FEMA reimbursement in order to keep everything square for the auditors.
I think I know the answer to the question, but the pot of money that this $297,000 would come out of?
Disaster relief.
Okay. All right. That's what I thought.
Which has how much in it?
3.5, a little over 3.5 million right now, with a floor of 3.3 according to the ordinance, but you can do, with board approval, you can go under that for emergency
We would be under
purposes.
it with this motion then.
Right. Correct, Mark?
Well, under the state of emergency,
The state of emergency, it waives.
waives all the usual
So we can,
stipulations, although we do need to amend that ordinance to create a new floor at some point here.
Okay.
Well, our floor was with regards to us balancing the budget to operate on just regular usage.
right.
Yeah, so we're in an emergency. So.
Right.
So that's different.
The only thing I would ask is that, Mr. Sheriff, if you would work with our staff to make sure that, obviously, I think, dotting the i's and crossing the t's, whatever it is that we're going to have to do with regards to trying to see that reimbursement occur, we just make sure we're trying to follow those protocols as much as possible. I'll make a motion to approve the request as presented by the sheriff.
Second.
Motion moved by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Harris. Is there any discussion?
Let's just round it up to 300,000 to make it for easy accounting, by the way, too. So.
Won't you go forward?
No.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
That was coming.
Sheriff Reeves, yeah, why not?
Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor of this motion say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
He does have to pay this back, doesn't he?
With interest. Yeah. Yeah, we'll start writing some fines.
He'll pay us with our money.
Yeah. Next thing on the agenda is a hearing of the public. Does any members of the public wish to address the board at this time?
Yeah, here comes the mayor.
Mayor Molly. Hello, Mayor Molly.
Thank you.
Yes, you can have it.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I tell you what, our county's been through a lot
Yes.
before, during, and after Irma. And I know there's many in this room that have worked very, very diligent, long hours. And I am here because I still have a concern. And I know that the county's been working with their contractor for debris removal. And I know staff is probably, trying to get things done. So I just have some questions about that today for the city of Coolston. Do we know the exact date that they're going to start? Do we know how many?
Wait, can we do them one at a time?
Sure.
Can
I
we
just
make
have
it a
three questions.
dialogue? Because if we don't,
Okay.
is that possible? Do we know some of these answers as we go? Okay, well, if they're pending, they're pending. But when do we expect them to start in Coolston? Because they've already
the
started
city
in
of
other
Coolston.
part of the
And I
county.
realize that this is countywide and you've got, everybody going and, covering the whole county. I'm just here on behalf of the city because I get questions daily,
So do I.
more than once a day. So
Okay.
I just wanted
Question
to, since
number
it was a
one.
public meeting, when are they going to start?
Question number one, when do they start
When's
in
the
the city of
contractor?
Coolston?
When's the contractor notified the county the start date for the city of Coolston?
Okay.
For the record, Shane Parker, Public Works Director. In my conversations with Ashbridge, up to as late as just 4:30, Wary Truck Lines is supposed to have, they're moving, Wary's moving out of this side of the county, moving over to City of Clewiston to start tomorrow, but I'm waiting on confirmation I'm going to have monitors available. If I do have monitors, they'll start moving, they'll start hauling debris to tomorrow, but I'm waiting on confirmation from
Okay.
John Hoyle from Thompson Consulting that he can have monitors.
So possibly tomorrow?
Possibly tomorrow, but I won't
Depending
know.
all the stars lining up, and you have a priority list of
From out
the
there, I
route,
do.
the Clewiston
Yes.
Street, and everything?
And then
Okay.
we're also starting City of LaBelle tomorrow.
Okay.
So both cities will be starting, and then we'll
Simultaneously,
still be
you have not picked any up in City of LaBelle as of now?
No.
Okay.
How many trucks do you have?
Weary has
Several
a bunch.
contractors are coming in.
Weary's huge.
Right now, there's a local contractor named Javier Darris who has 11 trucks. That's dump trucks, dump trailers. He had another one getting logged in today at 4 o'clock. There is another local vendor, WW Companies, Greg Westbury. He brought in one not a dump truck, like a landscape trailer.
Right.
I seen that myself go
Yeah,
across.
I
He's
seen
got
that too.
3 more trailers that he will be mobilizing after they get out of the shop this weekend. Another local vendor, One Step, Tracy Martinez, aka Peg Leg. He's got 8. He's got 8 going.
Peg Leg.
Oh, Lord.
He
Gotta be
had
reason
2
calling
that were
me.
down today, but
Yeah.
he's got 8 running.
Better keep Tracy over
Hang on,
here.
yeah. Let me think. There's so many different ones.
So, so.
But they're moving.
The short, don't go far. The short answer is, cross our fingers, hope tomorrow. Good question. What else?
Right. Well, that's what I wanted to know, exactly what date they were going to start. And, I know that the number of trucks makes a difference, but also the yardage, what the yardage is. But the estimation of how many days it's going to take to get the city of Clewiston, and I don't know if you have it for the county, for the city of LaBelle, but I'm just asking about the city of Clewiston. How many days will it take to remove the debris out of the city to the site, with monitors and all that? How many, okay.
That's going to be a tough one.
Okay, the answer is I don't have an answer because I don't believe the cubic yards that I've got from Ashbridge. It was basically, we just got a 1-sentence email that said 500 to 700,000 cubic yards, which gave me like red flags of 10 different questions. The answer I got was it covered both cities and unincorporated Hendry County. They did a spot check, took the number of houses in that area, multiplied it, and estimated so much trash per house. I don't know how detailed they went in. My personal opinion is they did not get very detailed. I've asked other people from Ashbridge. They still got to go around Wary Truck Lines, a prime vendor. They're going to go around and look and give me an idea of how many cubic yards, but I cannot tell the mayor how many cubic yards of debris is in the city of Clewiston, nor can I tell you how much is in unincorporated Hendry County that I would bet on.
Well, and I agree. And listen, and I've gotten that question a lot, and in the city, out of the city, in different parts of this county, all over. And look, I know our power's back on. We're trying to go back to work. We want to get back to normal as quickly as possible. All of South Florida, from Tampa south, nearly every county has been affected by this, and we don't like it, but there's only a set amount of contractors, set amount of contracts with people that can mobilize and do it, and the problem is they're getting just dispersed, and there's enormous amounts of horticultural debris. Everybody, and I know you are, and I know you're spreading the message as well, we have to be overboard with our patience and allow this to happen. We want it to happen as quickly as possible. We got our folks hounding it as hard as they can. But that's going to be a tough one to answer on anyone's call.
There's more trucks mobilizing from Wary, but I've seen a lot of trucks. They're not itty bitty. There's a lot of dump trailers, 20 cubic yards.
They have them big semis.
They've got all kind of equipment coming in. There's a lot. I was at the disaster debris staging area in Port LaBelle, and while I was there was 3 people showed up wanting to get on board. There's other local vendors that are debating when they're going to start. I haven't got confirmation. But there was a guy that showed up from Lee County, said, hey, I got 4 50 cubic yard self-loaders I want to be on. He's price shopping right now. But in speaking to Keith Howard with Lee County, who called me at 4:30, he said, want to know how we're doing. They're having problems, and they want more. But he also said some people in his county left to go to Miami-Dade and are coming back because while they're getting the price, they can't move because the traffic's stopping them. They can't get no quantity.
Can't do but one
So
little
they
thing.
can go back home and they can move more volume to make
They
money.
load up.
You have a question?
Multiple questions.
All based off number 1?
So the first question was what date they're starting.
Correct.
And you're saying that potentially tomorrow, with what is the volume of trucks? 3, 6, 12?
There is be 3 is what I was told. Two load hauls, which are, I believe they're 40 cubic yards, and the self-loader, which is 50. So
And-
that's for sure tomorrow if I get monitors. So
Okay.
140 cubic yard container, they move pretty fast.
And have we made a second site available for them? Because if we can cut down load time to
We
move,
haven't made a second site available because
why are we not doing that?
we haven't had time. We've been concentrating on getting people geared up. I've been answering questions to the city about where we're going to go, when we're going to start, been in conversations with Al Perry. We have to get DEP approval of the site, which can be quick, but the problem is that takes time, and I want to make sure we got it locked down so we can get reimbursed by FEMA, because if we do not dot our I's and cross our T's, we will forego reimbursement, and then that passes on to the city. And then
What sites did the city of Clifton use during Wilma?
The airport.
We use the old airport.
Yeah.
What, U.S. Sugar has given us a green light to use that again.
Right, but what I'm understanding is that the Everglades and the LaBelle Airport, I think it's the LaBelle Airport, were already DEP approved, or Port LaBelle.
They
were
both
already
just said
DEP approved.
DEP's process is quick.
Right.
If you're cutting down a 12-mile round trip and you're making it more cost feasible for people to go
Sure.
from the Ridge, from Aztec, from El Paso, and from Hooker's Point to there versus all the way out to Everglades, you're getting it done. I mean, it's just a logistics issue.
Right. And I know that in talking with FEMA that there was some, that's considered a temporary site, and I don't know unless
All of
it's
them are
changed.
temporary sites.
Okay, well, but that site would be a temporary site, and then hauling it from there to the DEP approved site is
No,
some
we
of the
should
issues.
we should get that DEP approved. How long? What's the time frame turnaround on DEP?
I think we can get it in a day or two. I want to get it locked down. There's a special approval you can get. The only question is like the weekly Sugarland auction.
That's February. So
February.
they need to start staging in probably January.
My one concern
they were
is-
pumping it the day of cleaning it up last time.
My one
And
concern
burying it.
is, and I'm not saying nothing bad about Ashbrit, but my one concern is if we haul it to that site and something happens in the middle of the contract, something goes south, then
And we have
it's
to rehandle
on.
it again.
Then move it to the pasture and burn it. It's not like
So-
people haven't seen smokestacks lighting on stuff for their entire life right there. It's kind of what we're used to.
But in order
Plus,
to-
from October to April, we see a little bit of cane that gets burned. So
But
I can tell you this much. I'd rather have that crap stacked somewhere in town and out of my sight because I'm getting wore out. I signed up for this job, but I'm so wore out with people that are bitter. Because guess what? Power's back on. Their thermostats are working in their house. Cable's back on. They want the trash picked up. And they're not calling Shane Parker. They're not calling Charles Chapman or Mark Lapp. They're calling Commissioner Turner and so on and so forth. And I weigh about 198 right now. I weighed about 204 earlier.
It's all but.
It's all but, okay?
Oh.
So I think that we need to exercise whatever option. Let me ask one other question. I know I'm getting into day-to-day operations. Well, who's assisting you with this process?
My assistant, Kelly.
That's it. You got one other person that's working on this with you.
That, and I have Steve Fort going out to do some, but mainly it's me and Kelly right now, taking care of that.
Alan Bowen's a genius. What is he doing daily that he can't help facilitate? We need to give Shane some more help. There's counties in our state right now that are hiring a consultant just to manage this debacle.
What do you need?
What do you need? I'm not hearing anything that you need.
Right now, I don't need anything, but.
No, you need another human. If you had somebody that had gray matter between their ears that could engage conversations, Shane Parker can't line up subcontractors, make sure that people are getting measured, monitors are coming in, with Kelly also helping facilitate that, and then call up John Iglehart or whoever you need a hammer on at DEP and get a second site or a third or a fourth site approved, and then guarantee that we're going to be working with the reimbursement protocols to make sure that we're going to get that all moving forward. Listen, I'm just trying to work with you on this,
Yeah.
but it's just my personality. I apologize for being aggressive.
No problem.
I was raised by Attila the Hun, and that's the way he works as well. And one of the other ones, she's gone now, but she was crazier than I am. But I think that we can deal with this issue if we just devote some resources that we have in house. This is simple. I mean, you got some people that you know on your staff that you feel could help you with this. We don't need to worry about cleaning out a ditch right now, mowing, some of that stuff. Put it to the side. There's got to be somebody there that you're looking to groom to get. I think you should look to move that. Charles?
The one comment I would have is, if you're wanting me to go to the city of Clewis, if you're wanting to, okay. The big hurdle today is, if she's wanting trash, when I say you, I'm talking city of Clewis, if they're wanting trash move manana,
Yes.
it's not going to be, it's got to go to Airglades.
Okay, that's fine. Start moving it to Everglades.
And that's,
But in the interim, make it make more logistical sense.
I agree.
And by the way, I've been talking about this for 11 days or 10 days. We're at date 18 if you count when the storm came here. I was sitting over there when they told me when the storm was in the Atlantic Basin, the contractors would have equipment mobilized and we wouldn't have this issue. And that's why we can't use Ridgedale and Son and WW and all of our local people, because these big time contractors, well, guess what? That didn't happen. Neither here nor there. So now we are where we are. So what can we do to help facilitate and expedite this process? And so you're telling me that you think they're going to be there tomorrow, but you still haven't said anything about East Hendry County. They're just going to be in the city of Clewiston tomorrow, right?
no, the goal is to get them to unincorporated East Hendry County, but I did not talk to them about going to Hookers Point or Harlem yet.
Or
We're just trying to
Flagpole or
get to-
Pioneer.
Yep.
Or
I'm not even really worried about those areas yet. I'm trying to get to where the masses, the people are in large congestion, open up certain roads and court, and then we'll move inward. But, I mean, we're just trying to clean up where it's really bad. I mean, North LaBelle is like really bad.
Yeah.
With oak trees. So we're focusing on those areas where we got capital projects. We have no capital projects in Flagpole.
So today was day 2 or 3 or 4?
Today is day 4.
Today's
They
day
haul
4.
Friday, late Friday, because they have to check in, measure the trucks. So it's like, I don't know, it's like 300 and something cubic yards. It's in the email that you'll probably get. So if I'm off of my numbers, don't hold it against me. And then Saturday was almost 1,600 cubic yards. Sunday was like around 800. That was a transition between first-tier contractors under Ashbrit. And then Monday, which was yesterday, was 1,600. And I'll know today, probably about 7:30, what they hauled today.
So you had 2 days. You had Sunday and Monday, you said, of 1,600?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
1,600, 800.
Right. Sunday was 800. Saturday and yesterday was about 1,600 cubic
But
yards.
all the trucks wasn't running.
No, I got more trucks. They
That's
keep
what I
growing every day.
meant.
I got R&R harvesting calling.
That should double.
Well, run your
Different
math.
laborers
That's
coming.
700,000 cubic yards. Let's go conservative at 500,000 cubic yards. At 1,600 yards a day.
It's like 300 days, I think. I already did the math.
It's a year.
It's
A little less?
Yeah, it's a little less than a year, but it depends on how they're ramping up with their trucks.
Yeah.
Remember.
Because you said you had
Friday,
one contractor that was talking about bringing 40 trucks potentially.
40 cubic yard truck, 40 cubic yard trucks. But you got to remember, when they started Friday, they didn't want to start. We pushed them. They started measuring trucks. It all fell apart with their first tier contractor at 5:30 in the morning. So the only person that showed up was a local vendor who had like 6 trucks he put on running, and he started running later today.
You actually met with him, Shane. You actually met with him on the 19th or the 20th. That contractor left. The next day, another contractor left. Yeah, Gigger left.
Gigger didn't leave until this past Saturday was his last day.
Okay. Hart, is he still here?
Nope, Hart worked for Gigger. He
Okay.
worked for Geiger Logan. They were here Friday, and they weren't going to haul nothing.
That's
And I said,
exactly.
You got to haul something. I called John Noble from Ashbrit. They hired Javier Darris to haul that day, and then Ashbrit talked to Geiger Logging and asked them to stay on board and manage a yard and make sure everything was going and get these guys signed up. That was a separate side deal with a first-tier contractor. Then Saturday, they start hauling again, and they got more trucks, and that's when they haul about 1,600 cubic yards. And then Wary Truck Line moves in on Saturday, moving some equipment in. Sunday, Wary Truck Line takes over as first-tier subcontractor to Ashbrit. They only move about 800. And then Monday, that's Wary's second day in full swing, and they're up to 16, almost 1,700 cubic yards. And in the day, they've hired more people, and then Wary actually had two trucks running in town today.
The point is, you're ramping up, you're
We're
getting there.
ramping
It's
up.
been a little bit of a debacle, but
Yeah.
we're getting there,
By
right?
the end of the week, yes. I
And
believe
that's-
we're getting there. By the end of the week, I'll know more, but right now, we're like in the first swing of it with contractor changeovers.
It's
so-
further behind than we want, but it is where it is.
Right.
And-
Got
and
priorities
we're-
from
and we're
both
moving along.
cities. City
And
of Bell.
hence, Mayor, that's why it's hard to put a date on. You will have it picked up by next Friday.
Right. Well, and and the request, and I'm sure it's from both cities and from unincorporated areas, is that, try to get it done as quickly as possible. And I know that the subcontractors might be difficult, but I know that there's lots of local subcontractors that would go to work. And I don't know exactly what all the ins and outs of it. It does sound complicated, but I'm hoping we can get things ramped up so that we will get the communities and get us all back to normal. I think that's that's what the hope is for everybody, that we get back to normal. And the reason why I'm asking these questions is that, I want to know, I want to be able to tell our community it's starting, they're going to continue working. But the issue of the monitoring that you just brought up, Shane, concerns me a little bit. If they don't have monitors tomorrow, and if they don't have monitors the next day, what will we be doing to make sure that there's going to be monitors there? I don't know if there's city or county staff that can show up to help out, to get going. Okay.
Okay, first of all, we have a contractor that's a monitoring firm. They've got a good reputation. They typically require 40 hours notice. John Hull's been exceptional to deal with. We've had no problems with their firm. They bring them in. We do not have the staff resources to monitor. They monitor the trucks. That takes the paperwork off the county, whereas in Wilma, we didn't have one. We were doing our own monitor. They're doing it all for us. They're inspecting the trucks, loading them up. I don't foresee any issues. If you don't have them tomorrow, then they should be there Thursday. But, John Hull has been responsive, and even at the last minute when they had the snafu, they geared up all the monitors they could. They brought in 20, we had 6 trucks, and they did training exercises. So I don't anticipate a problem.
Okay.
Well, you mentioned it, so I wanted to make sure. And then my final comment's going to be, and I'm not the attorney in the room, but Mark is. I just want to make sure, I know that you guys, the reason why it sounded so good to us as a city is that you guys had already done the groundwork. You had the contract, you had the agreements. I just want to make sure that they're doing exactly what they need to be doing and that we're not being stalled in any way or that they're playing games with us. I know that other cities and counties, I've heard it, are having issues. I just don't want us as a smaller county to be taken advantage of. So that was my last comment. And I appreciate everybody working on the behalf of Hendry County and the cities to get this done. I know it's not been an easy process. It's been a very stressful process for all of us, but I believe we'll get stronger as a county, and hopefully we won't have to go through this again, but I know that we've all learned lessons through it. So, and that's my final comment on the hurricane. But Charles, I did see that there's correspondence from the Corps on Lake O in the agenda package. Can you make sure that there's anything about Lake O from the Corps that the city gets a copy of? We might, but I haven't seen that letter, so I just want to make sure that going forward we get copied. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate you being here.
One comment, Chairman. Just to clear up some stuff, in regards to local vendors, I get questions a lot. We do not negotiate rates with local vendors. All we do is get the information, pass it on to Ashbridge and Wary Truck Lines. They do all that. We are not involved. We don't set rates. We cannot obligate them to hire local vendors, but they're hiring them.
Are they coming to you to get a local rate or different?
I got people walking in my office all day long.
They want you to give them a rate and stuff.
Nope. They're asking, can we hire them? I'm like, nope,
Oh,
we'll pass your information on.
Yep.
And we keep feeding it to Ashbridge and to Wary Truck Lines. But we do not negotiate rates. Whatever they work out, it's what they work out.
The people
We
I
cannot
talk to,
say anything about it.
they're not paying enough. And the local vendors can't stop their jobs to go do this because of the pay. $5.50.
It doesn't justify running the equipment.
No, that's what they say.
I was going to say, but Shane, we do understand everything is a process, and, you can't blink your eye and make it happen, but I do understand that I'm like the mayor, they just want it up, and I know you can't just jump up and have it that way, but, we do understand that you're doing what you can do. You can't make it go any faster. I believe that you have done everything that you need to do to make it happen, so, we just hope that everybody jump on with you so it can move forward, but it's there, and then we look at it every day. So when you ride down the road, and it's like a sore thumb. It's like a sore thumb. So we all see it, and I know she's taking the pressure because they just want it up, but it's not much more that you can do.
And the reality is, Shane, just to add to that, we had a major hurricane.
I know.
It wasn't a summer rainstorm. We had a major hurricane. It's going to take time. Going back just a little bit, though, I want to rewind just a little bit. There is people that's underwater still. That stuff needs to be ratified. That doesn't need to be pushed to the side to pick up sticks off the side of the road when their house is underwater. I get it. I picked up tons of debris out of my yard. We picked up tons of debris out of everybody's yard. But the reality is there's still some people that are underwater. So in the Feld area, a lot of water. I was down there myself again today. 3 or 4 days ago, I was down there myself trying to help solve the problem. But the fact is, it's going to take time. I mean, I get the same calls, trust me. When is this stuff going to get picked up? As soon as we can get it picked up, we will. But you do understand, we just had a major hurricane. So things are going to take time. It wasn't a storm. It was a major hurricane. It just
It
takes
wasn't
time.
just in our county.
That's right. It was the entire state. I mean, Chokoloskee, 75% of their homes uninhabitable. 75% of their homes. So a lot of the vendors are going that way. There's so much down there to be done. People got to keep in mind, we still have homes. We do have our lights on. We do have AC. We do have electricity. Some of them people don't have anything.
Hold on. I'm looking forward to when we revisit these contracts for our vendors, or for whoever it is that's going to be performing said contract. We have to be wiser as a county, and I don't know if that's our stuff that's between our ears or y'all, and maybe it's us having a much better conversation. The contract that I remember reviewing had no numbers in it. I remember, thinking, well, I don't really know what we're approving here tonight. We got stuff in front of us, but there's really nothing that says this is what we're going to be doing. I was under the impression it was a 1-year agreement. I guess it's been renewed simultaneously, a couple times since then. Was it a 3-year agreement?
I didn't do the agreement, but the agreement is, I believe, a 3-year agreement.
Okay.
We're still in that first term, and it has 2 1-year renewals, and the agreement has prices in it.
Wonderful. I look forward to reviewing
And
that.
it's like several items.
What I will say is this.
It's got 3 1-year agreements, and we just renewed.
Oh, you did? Thank you,
It's
Brian.
actually the October 30th, the 3-year contract expired.
Okay.
And about 2 weeks before the storm, I sent the letters in with the intention to renew for the 1-year renewal.
Okay.
And yes,
Okay.
But they do have numbers in there.
I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they do.
We
They
have to
prices.
look at that. We have to look at what market value is. We're not going to have people that want to show up for 5. I will tell you, and once again, I don't think we're talking about an insurmountable number. I think we're talking about $1.50 per cubic yard, that if we would have been pushed, if we would have had that, and they could have pushed that out the door, we would have seen a tremendous higher volume of vendors wanting to engage this process and go to work. But because the number of counties got whacked like they did, they're in Belle Glade right now, I think, making $6.75 plus per cubic yard, and their haul distance is minimal at best. I mean, it's nothing. And so we have to look at those things, and we have to make sure that we're comparable, and we have to take other variables into consideration. This has been a scrimmage. We have some really good game film, but we did poorly on some blocking and tackling, and we can always get better. So I look forward to us, hot washing this, to use Brian Newhouse's term, and getting all on the same pace that we can work through some of these
There's a
issues.
lot of discussion to be had.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But to Commissioner Wills's point, and I'll just tell you, I mean, I may have been short with some of my constituents because they call me and they're ripping my tail because their garbage stinks, or the trees are out there and I said, man, it's really hard. Or their yard was flooded. There was a lot of people that were upset because their yards were flooded, and adjacent areas were not flooded at all. And I don't know what the counts were. I saw through some rain gauges, we received over 22 inches in less than 24 hours, in some streaked areas. There's no system in the world that's built to handle that. And thank the Lord we didn't receive, 40 and 50 inches like they did in Houston and some of the outlying areas. So we got a lot to work on. I'm glad that y'all are moving it forward. If it's not too much to ask, as the process gets ramped up, I would love to see that update occur and sent out. And I would love to see Ms. Hunter send out as well something that shows what we're actually seeing occur, so that people can start to see we're working through that. And if, I don't know if it's the monitors or if it's Ashbridge themselves, but whoever does that actual hard estimate of what they think it is, and then just seeing that we're working towards that. I want to make sure that we're not sitting out there with a number that's 400 or 500,000 cubic yards, and 30 days from now it mushrooms into 600,000. Oh, we didn't really think it was. And I know they're going to say, oh, well, we're diligently working at actually picking up. I understand that. But in every contract that I'm involved with, we have milestones, we have float time, we have all those things that are taken into consideration, and they're taken into consideration on a weekly basis. But the project manager is doing it on a daily basis. This is a serious project. This is a multi-million-dollar contract, and it needs to be monitored heavily. And I'm not saying that it has to be you, Shane. I don't think that you can do everything that you're doing right now and or with just one assistant. I think this is some stuff that gets pushed into the administrative office, and I know everybody's stretched to the nth degree. So that's it. There was one other major point. I think it just gets back to the monitoring aspect, but it'll come to me. I digress. I apologize. Thank you. Yes,
Thanks, Shane. There's still a hearing of the public. Is there any other members of the public wish to address the board at this time? Seeing none, no reports by business agenda, business by district. Commissioner Wills?
Yeah, what we've been talking about all night long, really, we just got to do better. Like you said, Commissioner Turner, it was a good scrimmage. But now we can see, we go back to the film and pick out the places we need to really concentrate on, and I think it's just a process of learning as well. I think the county employees done an amazing job. A lot of those guys worked many hours. They were out there in bad spots, but they were there. So I think they need to be, mentioned as well and brought to the public eye as well. The ones that didn't see them out there, they were there. Road and Bridge had employees out there. Maintenance facilities had people out there. Everyone had people out working. So we're doing the best, the best we can, and that's what I think the people don't expect no more than that. They just expect us to do the best we can with what we have.
Commissioner Bird?
First of all, I'd just like to say thank you. I give God the praise because we was blessed from being up north and to coming to the south to experience the storm. So we was blessed, and I like to thank the workers because everybody did work hard. Was there bumps in the road? Yes. You know how to step over them. The ones you can step on, you step on them. But the rest of them, you have to work together. So I appreciate everyone's hard work. I thank you all the volunteers that came out. And everything is a learning experience. It doesn't matter whether it was a hurricane or just a rainy season. And we just have to learn from it. If we don't learn from it, we're going to have the same problem. If we don't fix what's broke, we're going to have the same problem. If you don't acknowledge that it's broke, you're going to have the same problem. So there's some things that's broke. And I think my eyes are younger because I'm newer. So things that I saw, I shouldn't have saw. So I just think there's some things that we need to sit down and, and work out, so we can do better and come closer together. Because if we broke, if the head broke, the tail's going to fall off. So.
I know, of being everything from a constrained county with high poverty and unemployment, and we beat ourselves up, and we get beat up about multiple things, on a lot of occasions. I'm going to tell you what, it's very humbling and awe-inspiring to work elbow to elbow with folks that had issues and problems and flooding, and I was very honored to do so with many of my colleagues here in the room and people that I never met and shook hands with before in my life, but everybody come together, and that really defines our community and who we are and what we are. And that's really what I hope that everybody sees. It wasn't perfect, but nonetheless, I think that we've got the intelligence to do what the board is saying here, is to learn from our mistakes and get better. And I commend our staff. What a phenomenal staff. I know that many of them operated on no sleep for several days, and they did it out of the concern for our county and the folks that we serve. So what a true definition of the heart of servitude. So I want to make sure, and I've said it to the leadership, I want to make sure they're taking care of those that went above and beyond, well beyond what was expected of them. So I just want to publicly say I want the leadership to know that at least I, as a commissioner, expect you to take a look at that and do something special for those folks, and whatever that means to you and whatever we can do. So thank you. And this is only the first of several discussions. I look forward to discussing deeper issues, specific issues that and it's going to take a multi-entity discussion. This is not just something that we did or can do alone. So thank you for listening.
Okay. I don't want to repeat what they all said, but to echo what they said, I agree with everything. And I was at the EOC every day watching them, especially Margaret now. And it was like a chicken with their head cut off, running all over the place. And then we had a lot of volunteers at our places like Dallastown's building, different places. We had a lot of citizens show up. Some of those ladies showed up every day to volunteer their services for how many days in a row you'd see that same face there. I couldn't believe it. We just need to thank the citizens. And a lot of people got closer. Trent, we got him broke in.
Yep.
He might transfer.
Be Glades County's rep.
Yeah. But anyway, we appreciate, the sheriff and the job they did. Brian, Charles, Jennifer, all of y'all. Even Shane did a good job. Thank y'all very much. In North LaBelle, we did get hit hard. We had 4 roads in trouble, blocked off, washed away, and mobile homes with water in them, and some blew away. But we're still blessed when you look at Bonita Springs, Everglades City, and all those places. We didn't see nothing. But you look at the problems they got.
Yep, I agree.
Did we end up having homes that we lost due to flooding? And do we have a number on that?
Flooding from water coming up, not necessarily like roof blowing off and water coming down.
Yes, sir.
A lot of it
That.
was floor damage. I don't know if they got.
We have the summary that was prepared for you.
I
and
saw
there's-
that.
And there's another report that's much more detailed.
Myra Johnson, Planning and Zoning Coordinator, also did damage assessment. I know for a fact when we were in North LaBelle, we did 2 homes that were damaged due to flooding. But some of them were hard to tell. People weren't home. So getting access to see where the water line and stuff was a little difficult. And it was 2 mobile homes.
So we had, right now, we think we can say that we lost. They're uninhabitable now due to
They are
flooding?
uninhabitable due to flooding, yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Y'all sent us that list, and it said there's a 57-page spreadsheet that goes along with it. Is there a time frame associated with when we can or cannot update that? Like, does it have a sunset that we're not allowed to add to that list? And I don't know if these are the types of people that will be eligible for FEMA help or how that all works.
Yeah, most of them are.
The list that we have is what our damage assessment team came up with their efforts. What'll happen from here is going to be the residents will be reporting. We'll get phone calls from the residents asking for us to come out.
Okay.
We are doing individual inspections. The building official is on certain properties to make sure on the outside, not the inside, because that's not our area of expertise, but
Yes,
on
ma'am.
the outside, it's let them know whether we would deem it habitable or not.
Okay. All
But
right.
this list isn't going to change that much. It would be more self-reporting where we would add it to the list, but this initial list is being used by Brian and other folks on reporting to FEMA on what occurred.
Okay. Do you all think that we should make this public so that if there are people that are in a dwelling right now and you didn't know said dwelling was destroyed or hit really hard, they may not be on the list, is what I'm saying. Just kind of using that, as a resource.
If the result of advertising this list was that other people would come forward and say, I'm not on this list, what happened here, that would be great.
That's my
My concern is we have such a hard time communicating. Okay, on this one. Okay, but was it deemed uninhabitable?
They weren't all deemed uninhabitable, but
Okay.
there's 14 that specifically mentioned flooding damage.
Right, but they weren't deemed uninhabitable.
No,
They were,
not all.
what were they deemed?
Damage
Probably
by
major.
flooding?
More likely major.
Okay,
I don't have that in this search.
okay. What was I saying?
You were saying that if the list would potentially help with getting more people to be added to the list, but I fear, and then you stopped, and he started talking to you about 14.
I fear
Okay.
that getting the word out is difficult in this community. I mean, there's so many folks that if we advertise it in the paper or send it out through Facebook or our website, we're only going to touch a small portion of our community with that. I'm not against doing it. I'm just saying I would hope that we would get that result so that we get more folks that we can reach out to.
Well, that's my goal, and I think what you're not seeing is that you don't disagree with wanting to put something out. And once again, it sounds like I love to spend money, but I think that we need to take a little bit of money. We need to go to the Calusa News, the Calusa Bell, and the Henry Glade Sunday News, and we need to have Ms. Hunter sit with them and find a way to say, if you were affected adversely, I don't know what the wording is, but if Hurricane Irma hurt you and you need services, then you need to reach out to the county.
Well, we need to be careful about that because who they really need to reach out to is FEMA.
Okay?
And
But the problem is I don't know any FEMA employees. I know a bunch of county employees.
Mm-hmm.
And FEMA has proven to me 2 or 3 times now that they'll have a great conversation. But I've been asking for 4 or 5 days now from our state emergency manager and the FEMA liaison, can I have the average price per cubic yard for our region? They sent me a long list of stuff, but I haven't seen it. So maybe I'm beating up FEMA right now, but okay, welcome to the club.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that we control the local message.
Mm-hmm.
But my fear is that 30 days from now, instead of it being 594 or minor damage 1246, we're going to have people coming out of the woodwork. They're going to be really upset. And it's not that y'all weren't trying. It's just they didn't have a medium and they didn't know how to go about it. I think that we use social media. We use our media outlets.
Every layer.
He goes on Welcome to Glades or whatever it is on 100.5, and we start having that conversation because we're only talking about 40,000 people roughly countywide. And once that medium starts to get out there, then I think that people are going to come in, and then we can direct said people
Yes.
to FEMA. I would
right.
think.
You're right. We'd be directing them not just to FEMA.
Yes, ma'am. Whatever it may be, United Way, SHIP.
Whatever.
They lose their housing.
So,
Yes.
Margaret.
Yes, sir.
So when they go to United Way, is there someone there that can direct them to FEMA or whoever they're supposed to go? Because when you go by United Way of the day, there was lined up all the way around the sidewalk down the road.
Right.
And that'd be the place to get the message out, and I'm sure y'all doing that.
Yes. We've been coordinating with Lisa Sands and the folks in United
That's
Way
where
all
we're gonna
along. They have the information to hand out to folks, and they also know how to help folks when they come in by asking them the questions on or finding out exactly what their need is. And a lot of it's pretty great.
Yeah.
Then some of the areas that's flooded, like Nobles, I was gonna do that door to door.
Yeah.
A lot of people said flyers on the community centers helps a lot. And everybody goes to the community center, everybody goes to this store. So once it's printed up, it'd be simple to put a flyer on a door and,
Yeah.
put it in English and Spanish both.
Yeah.
So you reach, everyone there the same way. But
Right.
that's a lot of people's telling me that because a lot of them don't have Facebook. And
Right.
they said, we
And
don't read the paper, we don't have Facebook, so
Yep.
we're not connected.
we-
I said, well, how can we connect you? Well, everybody goes to this community center. Perfect. We'll put something on the door. So that's an
Yeah.
avenue as well.
When we talked to the pastor of the Spanish
You guys
church
don't
in
need
Northville,
Right.
he said he knew most of those people, and if he's got the information, he said he would relay it to them.
Right. Yeah.
He was real helpful.
Yeah, very nice man.
And then one other thing I would really encourage is on our on our debris management pickup, I'm assuming Ashbrit and/or their vendors are going to make one trip around. They're going to make 2 trips around, maybe more. Okay, because you know what I'm getting at, Shane, right? Like, today,
Come out there.
yeah, everybody, like.
Trees not all the way down.
On Fortino Road, we have a case where we have limited right-of-way.
Right.
It was wall trees all the way down, and people couldn't get it out to the road or put it on the neighbors. So we already went through, and there's already stolen up behind us.
Yes, sir.
They'll have to go back.
That's where we have the issues of small right-of-ways.
So is there any way that we can also express that right along the same lines of if you need help, and then have another public push of information that says, as it relates to solid waste, because that's the next question that I've been getting is, where do I put it? And do I have to cut it into X, Y, or Z? Where's it going? So on and so forth. And I've said, because they can only stack so high. So I think that, we need to explain to them that they will be coming back around because people are concerned about that.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to see stuff get lit on fire on Hookers Point Road. I guarantee you it will happen. Not because there's little Carson Turners running around and they're devious and they like to have fun with fire, but it's just people are wore out with it. But I would have done that when I was little. I would have.
Just as a side note, I just got a text from Ashbrook, 2,554 cubic yards was moved today. That's a 50% increase from yesterday.
Good.
Absolutely
So-
good.
That's good. And that'll keep increasing.
Yep.
Anything
Day
else?
4, yes.
You're running short of time here.
Okay, I hope that Charles did the listening tours a few years ago, and he gave people little things to click on, and we
Yeah.
had all these conversations. I don't know how follow-up went to that. I hope that we will take this, and if we can get through hurricane season, I hope that we will go back through to all these communities and have this type of a conversation with all of our communities, because I think that we have a lot to learn. I think that we're going to get a lot of positive feedback. I think we're going to hear some great things where we missed the mark. Operation Blue Roof was one of the things that really got people fired up. They were just set up in LaBelle. I think they've already mobilized, and I think they have something set up in Clueston. I don't know. I really do not know. That's one of those FEMA programs that we don't really have any control over. But, I had people that were lit up because they wanted to have Operation Blue Roof come and help them. They had over 50% damaged, or they had less than 50% damage. They met all the criteria, but they were told they had to go to the Emergency Operations Center in LaBelle. They don't even know where that's at, And so I'm sitting there trying to explain to them that you can actually sign up online, but those are all things that's just a ton of misinformation, and that's where we get into, we don't have a lot of the resources that are available at our fingertips, and then when internet's down and stuff like that, we're already falling victim to not being able to share that message anyway.
They were in Walmart in Clueston,
I think they were. I think they got established at Walmart in Clueston, yeah. So,
but they were so late.
yeah, so.
It was already.
Long and short of it, though, just to echo everything that everybody has said, I really do think that we had a lot of people that stepped up to the plate. I'm looking forward to the after meetings, and I want to make sure that we have both city commissions, the school board, and all of us in a room together, and we have some very uncomfortable conversations with each other so that we can make it a better process. I think that we'll get there. I think everybody's adult and ready to handle it, and it's going to be good. And if there's any community leaders that want to engage in that process, I think that would be very beneficial to us as well.
Absolutely.
Amazing what our places of worship and our volunteers did.
Yep, I agree.
Nothing short of amazing.
That it? Anything else? Meeting adjourned.